Welcome to the Movies of the Damn podcast. My name is Kyle Grant, and I'm sitting here with my friend and published horror author, John Hunt. If you enjoy what you hear here today, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our Facebook page, and follow us on both Instagram and Twitter, @DamnMovies. Email us any questions, comments, and suggestions to moviesofthedamned@gmail.com. For further details on John's published works, please visit his blog, johnhuntfiction.wordpress.com. Today, we'll be discussing Christopher Landon's 2017 film, Happy Death Day. The movie focuses on self-centered college mean girl Tree, who is murdered on her birthday and begins reliving the day repeatedly in a Groundhog Day type format. Tree soon realizes that she must discover her killer's identity and prevent her death in order to stop the loop. After a multitude of misses and a self-realization about her destructive ways, Tree eventually learns that her roommate Lori is the true killer. Tree then confronts her, and the subsequent altercation results in Lori's death, ending the loop and allowing Tree to move on with her life. Ethan, happy to have you here to discuss this one. John, let's get your opening thoughts on this movie.
This was a great and fun movie, in my opinion, along the same lines of how great and fun The Babysitter was.
Yeah, this is a horror comedy, and
Yeah, for sure.
love horror comedies.
Yes, you do. And I really enjoyed this. The whole film, I was watching, I was smiling, I was like, it was all good. It's another Blumhouse one, isn't it?
It is a Blumhouse movie, and
there you go.
they usually make gold, which they didn't
Yeah.
again with this. And I like what you just said there about the smiling part. I caught myself so many times during this movie just sitting here like shaking my head and smiling to myself.
Yeah.
And it's over like gruesome things, like over this young girl dying.
I
But it's just
know.
like all the creative and ridiculous ways that she was dying and forcing herself to die and things like that. I just like, it's morbid, but you find yourself laughing.
Yeah, for sure. And the interactions she has with other people and how the interactions change over time as her character is developed, it's just a fun film.
Definitely. And first things first, for those of you who haven't seen it, this is not an Oscar winner by any means. But it's like you said, it's a fun movie. You'll be entertained the entire time. You will enjoy it the entire time. I'm hoping that you agree, Ethan. Are you on the same lines here that you really enjoyed this movie?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun movie. I wouldn't. Is it really a comedy? I didn't find myself laughing ever. It was just
really?
fun. Yeah.
Okay.
It just seemed like it was kind of like it was like a light slasher. That's what it felt to me.
It definitely was a slasher, but I think it just had some offbeat, like comedic moments throughout. Like it was like almost a mixture between kind of Groundhog Day, which is a comedy, the old Bill Murray film, and Scream. So it's almost like a mix between the two of them.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really find it funny. It was just it was fun. It had a lot of cool moments. It had a lot of kind of those cliche horror moments, but it was reworked to fit into this.
Into the narrative,
loop.
yeah.
So it felt fresh, and yeah, it was interesting. It's these time loop movies are always like they could always go so wrong if they try too hard to copy the ones that did it before.
Yeah,
but they always find new and inventive ways to introduce it. So like Groundhog Day is the first one, obviously, but then there's Edge of Tomorrow.
Great movie.
Yeah, which is like
that is an underrated film.
Yes, it's like futuristic war, and now they're doing a horror one, right? So it's like, as long as you keep like finding new ways to show this time loop in a new and inventive way, then I'm not gonna get sick of the format. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. And these type of movies can be very, very tricky because they are very repetitive, obviously. Kind of the characters reliving the same things over and over again, so there's very similar scenes over and over again. But at no point in this movie was I frustrated in the way that it felt like, oh, we gotta watch this again. Oh, this has to happen again. It almost felt to me a little bit like the Black Mirror movie Bandersnatch. Did you watch that, Ethan?
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, you saw it too, John. But what I found with that is that even though you were reliving scenes, it didn't feel like you were reliving it because things were slightly different. They were slightly changing, so it didn't feel monotonous. Did you get
No,
that in this, where you didn't feel monotonous with it?
Yeah, I was never bored. It was just because they kept adding in new kind of twists and turns to have it while still remaining the same. Like there was always the same when she woke up, but this actress, I don't know her name, but she did a great job.
She did a really good
She
job.
did a great job. So it was always like she'd always have a different reaction. Somebody should be like, "Are you kidding me?" Like still. Another day she'd just be like pissed off. Other days she'd wake up screaming and freak out. Like she always added something new to each time she woke up from being dead, so that it kept it fresh with her performance.
That's absolutely right. And John, do you agree with that? With even though they're repeating these same scenes, things are fresh. They're still interesting. They're not boring.
Absolutely, that's how they set it up to be that way. Like the very first scene when she walks out, and then you see all those very unusual things happening in a small space of time. You knew that's going to be shown later on to show like that she's repeating the same day, and that she's noticing that she's repeating the same day, and that she's going to be able to use these tools to prove to someone else that she's repeating the same day.
Yeah.
Which she does. And I don't know, man, I thought this was pretty funny. Like when she brought that Nick guy up, or Nick brought her up to the room, and he's puts a disco ball on. He starts dancing in front of her. He's like, "Welcome to the Pleasure Dome," like stuff like that.
Yeah. Just
And-
so ridiculous.
And then the guy that was, that she sees multiple times, like, "Oh, you never text me anymore." She like looks in his window and sees him in front of the computer.
Oh, yes, yeah. Oh, the guy that she when she finally just like has the heart to heart with him. Listen,
Yeah.
you're gay. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
No,
but you're
enjoy
gay.
it. Yeah.
exactly.
I thought there's a lot of good stuff in this film about like that, like a lot of small funny things that I
Even
thought were
the
really
killer's mask
Yeah,
was kind of
the
comedic,
baby
right? Just
mask,
like a
yeah.
big baby
Yeah.
is what's killing you.
good. Yeah, this was a good film.
Okay. And so one thing that you come away with from this movie, because of the number of times she dies and how ridiculous some of the situations are, and it might be even tough for you to pick, especially since I'm putting you on the spot here, but each of you, I want to hear what your favorite death scene was in this movie. And there are a ton to choose from. John, Ethan, do either of you kind of have one that kind of sticks out in your head right away? I have one queued up if you needed some more time to think here.
Well, there's like the two big ones that I always think of, which is when she killed herself from the clock tower, and then when he blew up the cop car with her in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are always the two big ones those are the two ones that popped into my head. Those are the most ridiculous and
I just love that when she hung herself, she wakes up and she like cracks her neck right away.
Yeah.
I thought that was just
it like
awesome.
that one like hurt me though, like just neck breaking. Oh, I can't deal with it. So I think that's why I like the exploding car one. It was just like, because you're a back cop car, you're not getting out.
And
right?
it's so funny that you said that, and you won't even believe me. Those are the two that I've written down right here as being my
I
two favorite
figured
ones.
They're the two big ones, yeah.
And if I have to pick one, I'm probably going with the neck one, just because of how I thought it was pretty comical, and she woke up and cracked her neck there. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
John, are you the same thing, or was there another one that really sticks out to you?
No, I like the clock tower one. The clock
Yeah.
tower one's my favorite. That was for sure. That was my favorite. What I did like is, what I thought was different and unique in this film is that every time that she died, the way that she was killed, it was affecting her. Like she was carrying those injuries forward.
I
So
thought
she
that was a
getting
cool
weaker every
twist as
time,
all
right?
as
Whereas
well.
like in Groundhog Day, right, it was like every day the same, nothing bad. And he tried to kill himself a few times in that movie, right? So it's like, but that wasn't there, right? I thought that was an interesting thing that you have to move forward quicker than you are to solve your own murder. Otherwise, you might never get a chance.
It puts like like an end date on this, right? Where you can't just go at this forever and look at every possible combination. You have to figure things out. What were your thoughts on that, Ethan?
That was actually one of my issues with the movie.
Really?
Yeah, that she was carrying it forward. It wouldn't have been a problem, but it only came up that one time when she was in the hospital, and then they never talked about it again.
Oh, and they did what did they do, like an X-ray and an MRI or something like that?
Yeah.
And like, where did all these injuries come from, or
Yeah.
something like that?
That's like the only time they ever mentioned it, and then she was just fine for the rest of the movie, and it never came up again. It was just like, why even put that in? It didn't.
I think it's because of what we were just kind of mentioning, that once it's in there, as the viewer, you're like, oh wow, she's got to hurry up and solve this, right?
But then they should have shown her getting
weaker
and weaker, and they didn't. She was just fine. They just add that in. They're like, okay, we'll throw this in there because why not?
Was it a way to get her to the hospital?
Yeah, but you could have thought of a different way to do that. There's a million ways you could have done that, right?
Okay.
It's just like you're adding in maybe not a plot hole, but a loose end. It's definitely a loose end that was just never tied up.
And I hear what you're saying, and I can't disagree or argue with you, but maybe I just didn't have as much of an issue with it as you did, and I actually thought it was kind of cool, like your dad said.
It's a
kind of
cool
like that
idea,
angle.
but I just wish they had done something
Just
with
expanded a
it.
little
And
bit
they,
more.
yeah,
on
it
it.
could have even added more tension with the end part because she's weaker, but she was never weaker, right? So if she kept getting worse and worse and worse, and by the end she's like nearly dead, and she finally gets that person, that would have been a lot more tense than just throwing it out there and nothing coming back.
And then I wonder, once she does solve it, does she go back to perfect health, or does she carry that with her again?
Well,
right?
no, she just take time to heal.
Oh no, it's fair. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Obviously, John, you don't have that same issue as Ethan.
No, I think from the movie standpoint, they only had to mention it once to put that timeline on it.
To just get you thinking about
Yeah,
it.
just get you thinking about it. She needs to deal with this quickly, otherwise it's going to get worse, right? That's all.
And as I was watching this movie, I kind of, we brought this up in previous podcasts. Sometimes I have these moments where I like throw my hands in the air and I'm like, can't believe this is happening. Because I really enjoyed this movie and I was really loving it. And then when, to me at least, it looked like the killer was going to be that escaped serial killer, John, I think his name was Toombs or whatever, from the hospital, I'm like, come on, this is so bad.
It didn't make any sense. They set that up early in the film, though, like with her seeing a quick news flash in one of their early kills. They set that up fairly quickly, and then as to be a potential thing. But I was like, this is just.
I'm like,
didn't make sense.
It can't be him.
Oh yeah, but that earlier point, I do agree with Ethan. Though they could have developed that weakness aspect more.
Okay.
Right, but from the movie standpoint, I think they just mentioned it once to get you thinking about it. But it could have been used further on. I agree with that.
And more effectively, yeah.
Yeah.
But so you didn't right away. Did you know that? Coming back to my point, that wasn't going to be the actual killer.
Well, I immediately had all these questions, right? Why did he pick her? How did he run into her?
Exactly.
How did he get into her room? How did all this stuff, like, you know what I mean? I had so many questions as soon as that became her focus. And then I was also like, okay, well, she seems very happy about it. She has a plan. This can't be, and we have this much time left in the movie. It can't be him.
Okay.
So,
but then I love the twist that it was actually the roommate. I thought that made perfect sense. I thought that went well with it. What were your thoughts on that, Ethan?
It didn't bother me as I feel it as much as it should have.
The thinking that it was originally the guy in the hospital.
Well, no, who it was in the end.
Oh, it being the roommate.
I know. I knew it wasn't him. There's no way.
Okay.
Well, actually, I hoped it wasn't him because it would have ruined the movie if it was him.
I would be giving this a thumbs down if it ended up being him.
So, but the whole roommate thing, I was like, I'm surprised I didn't feel cheated because they didn't set that up at all.
Okay, but it, based on how much of a jerk she was, it kind of made sense why the roommate hated her so much.
Yeah, but like she was a jerk to everyone.
Yeah,
so
okay.
if she was like just a jerk to the roommate, right? Or maybe if like.
But it had to do with the love interest, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that or me, yeah, but they didn't set that up either. She was kind of annoyed that Tree was at the hospital, but she never said stop sleeping with him. And then like they could have done something where just like she just seemed a little mad that she didn't eat the cupcake, right? Like overly mad that she didn't eat the cupcake, something like that, right? So to at least get you thinking, why was she so mad, right? Just do little things here and there to make it more believable. I didn't feel cheated, but I'm surprised I didn't because I should have because I didn't set it up well enough.
Okay, and John, did you feel cheated at all with that?
I absolutely did feel cheated.
Really?
Yeah, for sure I did. I thought it didn't ruin the movie for me at all. Like, not the cheated to the point where I'm like, I would give it a thumbs down because that's not the case at all.
Okay.
But he hit the nail on the head. Like when she first gives the cupcake and she just turns it and dumps it in the trash, the roommate was only mildly annoyed, and that was her that was her main plan to kill her, right? And so you look at it from that perspective, and what would you think? Oh, the roommate was mad that she was rude about throwing out the cupcake she made. You wouldn't think, oh, she tried to kill her. There's no lead up to that, right?
And the roommate should have known that she's not going to eat a cupcake. This girl,
with all the carbs.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
How she was acting prior to that. Like it was a big thing, right? So there's absolutely no. So when it came out that it was her at the end and over a dude, like I was just like, what? This is.
So it didn't work for you.
I thought it was like a weak thing. It was like, okay, why do women try to kill other women? it's usually over a guy. Let's throw this in there. Like I thought it was weak.
Maybe I was just so happy that it wasn't the serial killer that I was willing to accept anything at that point.
That might have been their strategic way of writing it in, I guess.
Yeah, it worked on me. It got me hook, line, and sinker.
Once again, I still really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. Like for what it was trying to do, I thought it was an exceptional film.
Oh,
I did feel cheated with that, but not to the point where I was angry or upset with the film.
No, I think you guys said it well there that it might have been a little bit cheap, but again, still better than that serial killer. And I did like the end though, when she kind of wakes up and Carter's messing with her again, pretending like it's like they're reliving the same day again. I like that. I know it might be a little cheesy to you, Ethan, but I thought it was.
No, it wasn't
I thought it was
cheesy.
Cool.
It was like, did he really remember exactly what he said and did the day before to mimic it perfectly? That was like
okay.
I was like, that seems a bit like because you know I don't
no, I hear what you're saying there. Yeah,
I don't remember what I did this morning, and like maybe if you knew it was a big morning, you'd remember what you did this morning. But at that time, he did not know it was a big morning.
Okay,
so he wouldn't remember exactly what he did. So that was the only thing. But I was like, it's like such a small issue. It didn't really bother me. It was just like, yeah.
John, what were your thoughts on that one? Do you think that was corny? Do you agree with what Ethan was saying that he wouldn't have been able to pull that off?
So you look in the context of the film. So I don't think he knew at that point that because you know every day that she woke up, she'd have to tell him.
Yeah,
I'm reliving this day. So I don't think
explain it all.
I don't think she told him. From what I remember, she didn't tell him that day. So I don't know why he would do that.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun. Definitely fun. It made me smile.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, oh, that's cool.
And so that's the way I was looking at it too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I guess once you examine these things a little bit more, sometimes those issues pop up, right? But as we've always said in previous podcasts, that when a movie is a horror comedy, we're willing to give it a little bit more leeway on this type of stuff. Some Rotten Tomato scores for you fellas. I was surprised with both of these personally. Critic score 71, audience score 66. Explain this to me, Ethan. I don't get these scores. I do not. Yes, they're still certified fresh. The majority of people are liking it, but they just seem low to me. Do they seem low to you?
I mean, they don't seem like, they just seem average. It didn't shock me how low they were. It didn't shock me how high they were. It just seemed like, yeah, this was a fun, entertaining movie. It was, I don't think by any means exceptional though. It was good. It had a few things that bothered me about it, but overall I had an okay time. I don't regret the time I spent watching it, but I've seen it twice now. I'm not going to watch it again for a long time though. You know what I mean? So it's just like, maybe to huge horror comedy fans like you, it might be amazing, but just, you know, as a general critic or public, I can see why I got a 70. It was like, yeah, it was pretty good.
Just kind of average, an average favorable film.
Yeah, there's nothing really wrong with it, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna go on to be known as like a really memorable movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it might not stand the test of time. John, your thoughts on those scores?
I'm not surprised by the critic score.
Yeah,
I am surprised by the public score.
You thought the public score would have been higher?
Yeah.
So did I.
Only because it's just like, it was a fun movie. So I don't know what it was marketed as.
No, you knew it was a Groundhog Day type thing.
Yeah,
where she had to I remember seeing the trailer and it was marketed exactly what it was.
Yeah,
she's living the same day over and over again, trying to figure out who her killer was.
Yeah,
that's the movie.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I mean. So I don't understand why. I don't know how someone would walk away from that going, yeah, I don't like that movie. That was terrible, right? Like to that certain extent.
Yeah,
right? Like it seemed. I think it would have been. I thought it would have been a smaller group that would say I didn't like this movie.
Like I think this is one of those movies where I have a hard time where someone could say they disliked it. Now I wouldn't give it a 90 personally. If I had to rate it myself, I wouldn't give it a 90. I might not even give it like a high 80. But I have a hard time someone saying it's a thumbs down. It's below 50.
Yeah, that's weird for me. That's why I'm surprised by the audience score. Critics not so much. They're like, you know, when you look at horror comedies, is this Tucker and Dale?
No.
Right? So it's like, and they gave that a pretty high score, right? So it's just like, it was fun. It was good to watch. I understand what they're talking about. Maybe some people were really really felt cheated and that ruined the whole experience for them. But to that degree, I don't know. I'd be right along with the critics on this one though.
Okay, I'm higher than that. I'm in the
You guys
80s.
are acting like they gave it like a negative,
I know,
like
I
a
know.
40, right? Like no, and like the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes works differently than the critics how they rate it, because
Okay.
critics are just up and down, and then
Yeah.
averages that out. Audience score is out of stars. So
Okay.
they average based on stars. So if the majority of people gave it 3 stars, it's gonna get a 66,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
right? So like. This is like about a 3, maybe a 4-star movie.
And people are still giving it a thumbs up, right? One place that did kill it though, the box office. Budget for this movie, $4.8 million. It brought in over $125 million.
Oh my god.
Huge money maker, right? And that's why they made the sequel, Happy Death Day to You, which I saw, and we're not going to talk about today because you guys haven't seen it, but I would recommend going to see that movie. If you liked this first one, you'll like the sequel. Now, as I was kind of saying to Ethan before we started recording here, it's a little bit different. It's not as much of a slasher. I compared it a little bit more to a Back to the Future type of thing, but I would really recommend seeing it. And I've heard that they want to make a third movie in this series as well. So this is a successful moneymaker.
Yeah. Why do they gotta keep making a billion things off one idea? It's so annoying.
It's because when these studios, and we've talked about this before, that when they find something that's a winner, they're going to go back to the well because they want to take as few risks as possible.
I know, it's so stupid though, because then they keep making them until it's not a moneymaker.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
so annoying. Just like
You just keep going and going and going and going until it doesn't work.
yeah, look at like the Conjuring series now versus
Yeah.
when it started. Right, it was awesome. Everyone was so hyped, and now like I don't even care.
No, and I get what you're saying. And John and I kind of talked about this on a previous podcast, John, with this Insidious, that you watched number 1 and number 2,
Yep.
and then you had no ambition to watch the next 2 because you were kind of just done with it.
Yeah, I was done with it. I think number 2 resolved it. So I don't know why. It's just like he said, they continue the story, right? I haven't seen number 3. It's
I
actually
liked
good.
them. I like those movies, yeah.
Oh, okay, well I should probably watch number 3 then.
Yeah, check it out. And check out the sequel to this one.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, the fact that this made so much money, again, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but just, again, with how much money it made, how does it not get a better audience score than that, right? Like, unless it's the same people that are seeing it over and over and over again.
Well, yeah, but also just like it's very profitable based off its budget, but it's not like 125 million per 4.8 million,
Yeah.
right? That's a huge profit margin, right? But like a lot of movies now are reaching the upper 100 million,
Especially as the ticket prices keep getting more and more expensive.
Yeah, so like it's very successful, but it's not like a massive phenomenon.
Okay,
right?
okay,
And,
I get what you're saying.
yeah, a lot of people might have been. Yeah, a lot of like I'm sure some people recommended it to their friends. Their friends went and see it and didn't like it, right? Because I'd probably
because they
recommend it.
suck.
But he also explained the audience score there. So if they're giving it a 3-star, then that is a 66. So that's a thumbs up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's kind of, I agree. It kind of makes sense with the audience score. Like they all went to see it and they walked away with and like if you walk away with a 3-star in your head, like and someone asks you, would you go see it? Should I go see this? And they like horror. I would tell anyone who likes horror slashers to go see this.
Oh, definitely, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's fun. You're missing out if you don't see this.
And now that
No.
it's on Netflix, if you haven't seen this yet, take the time and watch this on Netflix. Everyone has Netflix. You won't be disappointed. It's a fun movie. You'll enjoy yourself as you're watching it. Well, fellas, with this one, anything else to add about Happy Death Day? Ethan, you got anything for us?
Nope. I don't know. I like this time loop idea, and
Yeah.
if they keep going about it the way they're doing it, like every few years or so, doing something in a new genre with the time loop, I think that's pretty cool. So I'd rather them do that and make a series out of that, the time loop thing, than just the Happy Death Day.
So you want to see more scripts written like that have to do with the Groundhog Day type
I
thing?
mean, yeah, not necessarily. I'd rather that, and then transverse through genres
Yeah.
that way, because they did like the war movie, they did the slasher, they did the comedy, right? So try something new, right? Try the I don't even know. Try to action movie.
or something like that. Well, as you brought up earlier, Edge of Tomorrow was a lot of action. The war movie, kind of
Yeah.
futuristic sci-fi, great flick. If you guys have never seen
Yeah,
it,
that was
Tom
awesome.
Cruise knocks that one out of the park.
I'd say Emily Blunt, but yeah.
Yeah, both of them. John, anything
Tom
else?
Cruise is just Tom Cruise, right? He's just like that's who he plays.
Crazy man, but a great actor. John, anything else to add on this one?
Not too much. I once again, I really enjoyed this film. I think it was a lot of fun to watch. Me and Ethan did talk about this before earlier, and it's not a complaint, it's not a criticism or anything like that. It's just me being the way that I am. I kind of want to know why they get stuck in a loop, right?
Yeah.
Is it like you never find out with Groundhog Day, which he pointed out to me, and you don't find out in this, like why this one person in the whole universe does everything, the rules all change.
Well, I'm not gonna ruin things for you, but they start to walk down that path in the sequel.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
you got to
then
watch
I
the
need to see
sequel.
And I know it doesn't matter. Ethan will say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I agree it doesn't matter. But I am a why person. So that I will always ask that. Well, why? I'll always ask that.
Like a 2-year-old.
But like, yes.
No,
like
no,
a
but you
2-year-old.
brought it up in previous movies where like you want to find out the rules. How come this is happening? Then what rule did they break? You don't need every intricacy
the
explained.
rules. You know the rules for this. There is a rule for this.
You got to find the killer.
Well, it's just like you die, and every time you die, you restart the day. That's
No, but the rule isn't like what rule did you break to cause this to happen?
Well, no, that'd be a ridiculous thing to answer.
Yeah.
It does. It's just like you couldn't. That's what I'm saying. You couldn't answer it.
Well, you know what? Watch the sequel. Watch the sequel, and maybe you'll find out a little bit more.
Yeah, they might explain it more in a sequel, but that's just because everyone's like, well, why does she do this? And everyone wants to know everything why all the time, and it's annoying.
Oh well, something that I enjoy.
Okay. Whatever. I don't think why is a ridiculous thing.
No.
It's me wanting to know why is not a ridiculous thing. I get me wanting to know why and then saying this movie is bad. That's a ridiculous thing,
Yes, that would
right?
be.
That would be. But me wanting to know why just because I'm
It was
curious.
a wrong word choice, but it's just what I meant was it doesn't matter. It was just I used a wrong word choice. It's not ridiculous to want to know why. It's just like it doesn't matter, so I don't think about it.
And you know what? They might not have had a reason why. They might have just had the idea, let's have this happen,
Yeah.
and we're not really sure why this is
And I
happening.
agree with that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the why in this film, but I like to know. That's all.
Fair enough. Well, folks, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our Facebook page, and follow us on both Twitter and Instagram @DamnMovies. We want to hear what you thought of today's podcast and any suggestions you have, especially in terms of what movies you'd like us to discuss next. Send us an email to moviesofthedamned@gmail.com. Please also check out John's full-length novels. His first 2 novels, Dollhouse and The Tracker, are Amazon bestsellers, and you can also order his novella Balance, his book of short stories, 4 Shots of Horror, and his newest novel, Off the Grid, right now on Amazon as well. For further details on John's other published works, please visit his blog, johnhuntfiction.wordpress.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, that's right. So, quick question for Ethan. I want to put him on the spot here. Name a horror movie you think we should discuss next.
Yeah, what do you want us to talk about, Ethan? We want a suggestion from you.
Oh God, yeah, it's a big spot. Bone Tomahawk, Dad.
Bone Tomahawk it is.
Bone Tomahawk.
A future episode
You
of...
refuse to watch it again. It's awesome.
Because John put Ethan on the spot, and Ethan gave us something on the spot,
Yeah.
Bone Tomahawk will be a future episode.
Hell
Get ready,
yes.
folks.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I really liked that movie. I thought it was a great film. It's just that one scene I can't stop seeing in my head. And now you're going to traumatize me again. So, all right, that's what we're going to have to do, I suppose. But other than that, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. And be kind to everyone.